Hello again, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Cocan Arena for World Grand Prix Wrestling. What an action-packed card we have for you with the International Heavyweight Wrestling Championship on the line. Rotten Ron Starr scheduled to defend against British Empire champion Steve Casey. Speaking of Great Britain, we have one half of the British Bulldogs, the Dynamite Kid, debuting on this particular card, as well as such familiar faces as the Cuban Assassin, the Beast, and Leo Burke. It's all coming up. Don't go away here on World Grand Prix Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first match on today's program is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing in the ring from Scotland, weighing 240 pounds, Pat Brady. And his opponent, making his way to the ring area, hails from Dorchester, New Brunswick, weighing 237 pounds, Leo Burke. And your referee for this match, Bernie Richard.
Well, here he comes, Leo Burke, ready to kick things off here on World Grand Prix Wrestling against a very rugged opponent in Pat Brady. And this promises to be quite a match, considering the way Brady has gained an incredible amount of experience here with World Grand Prix Wrestling, and has certainly moved into the upper echelon as far as the rankings are concerned. Of course, Leo Burke needs no introduction. Pride of the Maritimes out of Dorchester, New Brunswick, locking horns here with Pat Brady in the opening match. Referee Bernie Richard having a good look. And Burke going down to the mat, but getting up very quickly. Burke and Brady now about to engage in a test of strength. And Burke down once again. Leo Burke, former international heavyweight champion, lost the belt earlier this summer to Rotten Ron Starr, hoping to regain the title at some point. But that is not his only objective here with World Grand Prix Wrestling. Leo, of course, also has a major score to settle with the Cuban Assassin each and every time out after that despicable betrayal on the part of the Cuban several months ago. Burke applying all kinds of pressure to the right leg of Pat Brady. Now Brady trying to break the hold, and he is successful in doing so as Brady wrapped an arm around Burke's chin. And Brady showing some good amateur wrestling technique in breaking this hold. Now Brady with half a headlock as he gets to his feet. Brady's all the way up now. Large crowd on hand here at the Cocan Arena to see Pat Brady and Leo Burke in this opening match. And Burke breaks that hold rather convincingly. Now Burke coming down with an elbow smash, and it's back. This time on the left leg of Pat Brady. There's some hair pulling, and referee Bernie Richard in to break it up in a hurry. Brady a little frustrated here in the opening going against Leo Burke. Now Brady with a chin lock. And Burke is able to break that. Burke working on Brady's left leg, and here he comes, dropping the knee on the hamstring area. And now Burke applying a lot of pressure to the inner and then the outer part of the knee. And, you know, Brady's in a lot of pain with the way he is clutching, and now Burke really drives down hard with that elbow once again. Pat Brady's going to barely be able to walk after this is over. Leo Burke really softening up his opponent. Some classic wrestling technique on the part of Leo Burke. Brady once again going with the chin lock, rolling Burke over. Brady has been able to break the hold. And now Brady with the headlock on Burke. This match so far has been very close. Now coming off the ropes, Burke drives a shoulder once again into the left leg area, the middle thigh. And Burke coming down hard. And look at Brady hobble to the ropes. And Burke kicks the feet out from under him, going for that same part of the leg. And there's Burke with a right hand, and it's back to working on the left leg of Pat Brady. Burke looking to take control of this match by continually punishing Pat Brady in that one specific area. Now Brady is able to kick out as Burke goes into the turnbuckle with the back of the head. And now Brady, who can't do much of anything as far as that left leg is concerned, just reaches down and applies a choke. There's Brady with a right hand, and now another right into the midsection, and then an elbow. And now Brady, not very mobile at the moment, but certainly strong enough as far as the upper body is concerned. Now Brady whipping Burke post to post, but Burke is able to get out of that sunset flip. Here's a count, 1, 2, and Brady is able to kick out. A neat maneuver on the part of Leo Burke with that sunset flip. Burke down on the canvas once again, just the count of 2, as Brady was going for the pinfall. I notice Brady still has a hard time maneuvering as a result of the punishment he absorbed on that left leg area. Burke goes down, the headbutt in the right hand, and now Brady starts stomping away. There's a reversal, and Burke drives Brady into the corner. Burke with a right hand to the midsection. Now another to the top of the head. There's an elbow to the top of the head. Leo Burke, neck breaker. This could be it. Count of 1, 2, and Brady's able to kick out. Fans here are calling for the sleeper. Here's Burke coming off the ropes, and he turns Brady over. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Leo Burke, his arm raised in victory as he disposes of Pat Brady here in the opening match of World Grand Prix Wrestling. Leo Burke showing some classic wrestling technique as he was able to soften up his opponent and then apply the pinfall. And we'll be right back.
Our second match on today's program is one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing in the ring from Moncton, New Brunswick, weighing 238 pounds, stomping Paul Peller. And his opponent making his way to the ring area is one half of the Cuban Commandos from Havana, Cuba, weighing 235 pounds, the 8th wonder of the world, the Cuban Assassin. And your referee for this match is Ron Gauguin.
And there goes the bell, and this match is underway. The Cuban Assassin, the self-proclaimed 8th wonder of the world, the man who betrayed Leo Burke just several months ago, in against Stompin' Paul Peller, always a rough and tough customer out of Moncton, New Brunswick. And here's Peller whipping the Cuban off the ropes, and Peller going right away to a backdrop. Here's Stompin' Paul Peller. He really has gained a lot of popularity amongst the fans here in the Maritimes with his rough and ready tactics. Peller backed up along the ropes. Here's the Cuban right hand. Peller comes right back with one of his own. Stompin' Paul Peller, never known for his finesse, but always willing to give a good fight. Here's Peller. He's tied up now by the Cuban in an arm lock. Peller able to get out of it and reverse the hold. Cuban assassin going to the ropes. Ron Gauguin, the referee, calling for the break. And Peller breaks cleanly. Cuban assassin claiming that Peller grabbed the hair. And, of course, there's a lot there to grab as far as the Cuban is concerned. Here's Peller. And there's a hair-pulling incident as the Cuban grabbed a fistful of Peller's hair. Very lively crowd here at the Cocan Arena. Gare Maxwell joining you ringside here on World Grand Prix Wrestling. And we'd certainly like to take this moment to say hello to some of the shut-ins across the Maritimes, people for one reason or another who are unable to get out to the matches. We certainly wish you all the best. Hope to see you sometime here at World Grand Prix Wrestling. As we mentioned off the top of the program, the International Heavyweight Wrestling Championship is on the line. Rotten Ron Starr has negotiated a contract to defend his belt against Steve Casey. That will be the main event on this program. Starr and Casey. Of course, Steve Casey, that high-flying British Empire champion, has more than earned his title shot, and he's finally getting it. Here the crowd is chanting for Stompin' Paul Peller, as the Cuban assassin, I believe, has gone to the trunks. Yes, our cameras clearly pick it up here on ATV. The Cuban assassin going to the trunks for some contraband, a foreign object, what have you. Referee Ron Gauguin is now checking the Cuban for whatever it is he's carrying, but the Cuban has managed to conceal it once again in those army fatigues. Cuban assassin backing Peller up off the ropes. Here's Peller coming off shoulder block. Down goes the Cuban assassin. Once again, the assassin is down on his back. Here's a body slam, and Peller driving his man to the mat. Here's Peller again. Boy, Stompin' Paul Peller has really wrestled effectively in this match against, as I mentioned, the self-proclaimed eighth wonder of the world, the Cuban assassin. Once again, the Cuban assassin with sour grapes claiming that Paul Peller has grabbed the trunks. Of course, that has not been the case. Peller has wrestled cleanly and most effectively. And now, once again, the Cuban assassin has gone into those army fatigues, and he's pulled out some sort of object. He's tucking it back into the pocket. And once again, referee Ron Gauguin is checking. He's checking out the allegations that the crowd, of course, is hurling towards the ring, that the Cuban is carrying something. Peller and the Cuban assassin lock horns. Peller with the headlock. Cuban assassin once again going for the hair. Now here's Peller whipped off the ropes. And the Cuban with a big boot. And now once again, the Cuban assassin has gone to the trunks. And there we see the object, whatever it was, into the throat of Stompin' Paul Peller. And Peller is dazed. His head rammed into the turnbuckle. The Cuban assassin needed only that brief moment to escape the detection of the referee, Ron Gauguin, to gain the advantage over Stompin' Paul Peller. Here's Peller. He reverses the whip. And now Peller giving some of the Cuban his own medicine. Here's Peller now with a backdrop, and down goes the Cuban assassin. Here's a cover. 1, 2, and the Cuban is able to kick out. Peller once again with a body slam. That's about the 5th slam that Peller has executed here in this match. Peller backing the Cuban up to the turnbuckle here in the corner in front of us. At ringside, here's the Cuban assassin whipping Peller. Off the rope, clothesline. Peller is down 2-3, even though Peller clearly had his foot on the rope. Referee Ron Gauguin did not pick it up, but Peller had his foot on the rope as his shoulders were pinned. And now referee Gauguin is trying to check for that foreign object once again, but the Cuban assassin, of course, pleads innocent. And Stompin' Paul Peller, despite wrestling a great match, comes up short here against the Cuban assassin. World Grand Prix Wrestling will continue.
Is one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing in the ring from Winnipeg, Manitoba, weighing 225 pounds, tough boy Eddie Watts. And his opponent, making his way to the ring area, hails from Dorchester, New Brunswick, weighing 250 pounds, the Beast. And your referee for this match, Bernie Richard.
Well, this should be a dandy of a match as the Beast approaches the ring, ready to do battle here with tough boy Eddie Watts. And Eddie Watts could be in for the toughest fight of his life here against the maritime legend and the Beast.
Yeah, but you know, Garrett, could be the other way around, too. The Beast may be in for the toughest fight of his life. They don't call this boy tough boy Eddie Watts for nothing. He's well deserving of the reputation he has, and he's going to take it to the Beast tooth and nail.
Okay, Rotten Ron Starr, the international champion, joining us at ringside for his observations on this match. And, of course, Rotten Ron Starr has a big bout coming up as he faces Steve Casey with that international heavyweight championship belt on the line. Starr has finally consented to giving Casey a title shot. Weeks of negotiations have consummated a deal, and it's all coming down to what happens here tonight.
That's right, Gary. You know, if the money's right, I'll go in there and fight you or your grandmother. It makes no difference to me. You know, you're always harping on letters and cards. Well, there's been a lot of letters and cards coming in wanting to know when I was going to give British Empire champion Steve Casey a title match. Well, I'm going to give him a title match right here on tonight, and I'm going to shut everybody up once and for all. And, you know, I got another letter that might interest you, you know, this week. I got a letter from Carl Malden, good friend of mine, you know, the movie star Carl Malden. And
right.
He told me to tell Paul Peller to send him his nose back right away.
As far as this match is concerned, the Beast and Eddie Watts are going at it tooth and nail as the Beast now gets a ride down to the mat, but Beast is able to kick out. And once again, Beast with the upper hand. And a very determined look on the face of the Beast. Eddie Watts claiming that Beast has been using a closed fist.
Well, you can see right there with your own eyes, Gary, the Beast came in, tried to get a kick to the midsection of tough boy Eddie Watts, but Eddie was a little too smart and a little too quick for him. Blocked it with a kick of his own. The Beast shoots him in and gives him a low boot right below the belt line. It's quite obvious this Beast is beastly as they come, and he don't mind putting those boots in there.
Well, the Beast has never been known for his finesse as a wrestler. He, of course, has made a reputation out of kicking, punching, sometimes even biting his opponent.
You know, it all goes back to what we were saying a couple of weeks ago, Gary. It's all fine and dandy as long as it's someone like the Beast or Leo Burke or some of your buddies and pals doing it. That's okay. It doesn't matter at all. But once Ron Starr, Cuban Assassin, or Jerry Morrow or anybody else gets in there and uses the same tactics, then you're the first one to jump on the bandwagon and start screaming about us. You know, there's a lot of action going on all over the Maritimes. You know, we've been telling people all along about the former WWF stars. Well, we got one direct in tonight. It's going to be right here on the program. And I'm talking about an arch enemy of mine, none other than the British Bulldog, the Dynamite Kid. And I'm going to tell you something. This man is truly dynamite. There's not a maneuver that he can't perform in that ring. An unbelievable strength. So my job out here is twofold tonight. I'm out here getting some air time, but I'm also out here doing a little homework. And like I told all you people last week, Ron Starr does not wait for breaks to come his way. He makes them.
Well, Ron Starr is correct when he says the British Bulldog, the Dynamite Kid, is here. Dynamite is scheduled to face the Cuban Commando Jerry Morrow. And that should be one dandy match, and I would suspect that if Dynamite wins that match, he could be in line for a title shot against Rotten Ron Starr in the event that Starr is able to retain his title against Steve Casey later in this program. Here's Beast now whipping Eddie Watts into the turnbuckle. Watts is able to come out of that situation, though, still standing.
Blocked it quite nicely. The Beast shot him into the turnbuckle, charged in like any beast with no brains would do, full guns ahead, and Eddie Watts brought the knee up, caught him right under the chin. Now he's shooting some of those lefts and rights into the Beast. He's hit him with so many lefts that the Beast is begging for a right, and Eddie's taking it to him. He's got him draped over the rope, giving the Beast a chance to give up. But if I know the Beast, he won't give up. Eddie will have to beat him right in the middle.
Well, I've never known the Beast to give up in any situation in the ring, no matter how desperate. Beast now getting whipped off the ropes by Watts. Knee to the midsection. Watts, you have to give him credit. He has certainly wrestled effectively here against a maritime legend in the Beast. And here's Beast coming back with a right hand. This could be the start of a great comeback. Beast a little dazed as he whips Watts off the rope, and now here's a neck breaker. Watts is down. This could be it. No, the big elbow drop. This could be it now. Beast going for one more time to soften up his man. 1, 2, 3
count, and that's it.
3 count, and that's it. It looked as though Watts might have kicked out. And Beast is able to keep the shoulders pinned to the mat as Watts tried for the kick out. Count of 3. And Beast is able to rally for the victory here against tough boy Eddie Watts. Coming up, of course, we've got the Dynamite Kid in against Jerry Morrow, and the World Grand Prix Wrestling feature, Rotten Ron Starr defending his international belt against British Empire champ Steve Casey. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Gentlemen, our next program is one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing in the ring from Martinique, weighing 243 pounds, one half of the Cuban Commandos, Jerry Morrow. And his opponent, making his way to the ring area, hails from Manchester, England, weighing 228 pounds, the British Bulldog, the Dynamite Kid. And your referee for this match, Ron Gogan.
You know, Gary, I think we're going to see a match here that is going to set a lot of people up to take notice. This man, the British Bulldog, Tommy Billings, is well known for his aerial maneuvers. And Jerry Morrow will take it to him tooth and nail. You're going to see one quick pace match here.
Well, certainly the two compare favorably as far as aerial maneuvers are concerned. The British Bulldog, Dynamite Kid, in tremendous condition, coming to us here at World Grand Prix Wrestling from a stint in Calgary. And Dynamite was telling me before the matches tonight he's always looking for good competition, and he feels that the type of men he'll face here in World Grand Prix Wrestling are the type of men that will further hone his wrestling skills and in the process perhaps earn him more championships.
Maybe, but I kind of doubt it. You know, he's right about one thing. He's right about the competition being right here in World Grand Prix Wrestling area. You know, the Dynamite Kid, he's looking a lot leaner and a lot better shape than I've ever seen him before. Anytime I've ever been in the ring against him, and I have been there several times, I'm one of the few men that have ever defeated Dynamite Kid right in the middle, and I'm sure if you ask him, he's man enough to admit it. At Vancouver, British Columbia, about a year ago, I put his shoulders to the mat. Whether it be luck or not, the rule book still stands. I do have a win over him, and he's here for one reason and one reason only, and I'm not stupid as I look. I know why he's here. He's here to make a match with Ron Starr. But before he does it, even with a beautiful executed suplex like that, he's going to have to prove himself to me.
Well, Dynamite nearly pinning Jerry Morrow in a hurry as a result of that suplex. There's Dynamite with a vicious chop. And another one, and that sends Morrow down hard to the mat. Jerry Morrow has done nothing in this match. Now Morrow going for a chokehold.
Yeah, but what about the beautiful double leg dive that he did before the chokehold? Let's mention that, Gare.
Morrow once again choking Dynamite. There's Morrow with a shot to the back. Morrow whipping Dynamite off the ropes.
Well, Dynamite thought he was going to go for a backdrop there. Instead, Jerry Morrow was waiting on him, planted a headbutt right into the midsection, a headbutt into the back of the head, and shoots Dynamite Kid out on the floor.
Here's Dynamite out on the ring floor, and the Cuban Assassin has come into the picture here, and he slams Dynamite into the boards here at the Cocan Arena, right into that hard plexiglass.
No, Gary, I think is what happened was the Dynamite Kid was looking for a way out, and the Cuban was just trying to point him back in the right direction, tell him where the ring was really at.
Ron Starr, Rongo, Cuban Assassin interfering here in this match. Dynamite trying to get back into the ring here against Jerry Morrow. Here's Morrow whipping Dynamite into the turnbuckle. Dynamite obviously winded by the punishment he took from that blow from the Cuban Assassin. Here's Dynamite, though, coming back. An elbow to the head. Morrow down with a headbutt.
You know, I think maybe Dynamite came into this match a little unprepared, thought he was going to have an easy go with Jerry Morrow. But anytime you're in there with Jerry, you can forget it. You're not going to have an easy one.
Oh, look at that.
Beautiful reverse backbreaker.
Vicious. Maneuver by Morrow and very effective, but Dynamite able to kick out from the cover. The one factor that Dynamite has in his favor is that he is in top condition as Morrow applies the neck breaker. Count of two, once again Dynamite able to kick out. The one thing Dynamite's got going for him, as I mentioned, he's in great shape.
Oh,
look
what
at
a
this.
nice move.
Dynamite now. Here's the pile driver. Dynamite pile driver, Jerry Morrow, and he's laid out.
Versus the backbreaker and goes into a reverse pile driver.
Look at this. Here's Dynamite off the top rope. Dynamite Kid. Oh! Look at this. 2, 3. What a great victory for the Dynamite Kid. Here's Ron Starr. Ron Starr has suddenly attacked without provocation the British Bulldog, Dynamite Kid. Here's Dynamite giving Starr some of his own medicine. An unprovoked attack by Rotten Ron Starr, and Dynamite Kid is able to answer it fully. What action here at the Cocan Arena. Dynamite Kid with a tremendous debut here with World Grand Prix Wrestling, defeating Jerry Morrow and sending Rotten Ron Starr scurrying back to the dressing room.
Ron Starr, you think for 1 minute that you're a great champion? You've not stepped in the square circle with the Dynamite Kid yet. Let me tell you something, champion. I'm challenging you right now to a championship match with the Dynamite Kid in this arena next week. Yes, you big boy. Come on, champion. on, champ. Let's just see what you got. Come on, Rockstar. I want a championship match with you.
And this is our main event on today's program. It is one fall with a 60-minute time limit for the International Heavyweight Championship. Introducing the challenger in this match from Liverpool, England, weighing 265 pounds, the British Empire champion Steve Casey. And his opponent making his way to the ring area, the current international heavyweight champion, along with his valet and personal manager Peaches from New Orleans, weighing 241 pounds, Rotten Ron Starr. And your referee for this match, Bernie Richard.
Well, here we have the international heavyweight champion, Rotten Ron Starr, finally putting his belt on the line here in the main event today on World Grand Prix Wrestling, as Starr and Peaches engage in that disgusting display of affection that I won't comment on further. Starr claims that's where he draws his inspiration from. As Peaches will watch this match from ringside, as Starr ready to defend his title here against British Empire champ Steve Casey. The belt is on the line, and Casey finally getting his shot. He has certainly earned it, scoring a number of impressive victories here on World Grand Prix Wrestling, as Casey and Starr size each other up in the center of the ring. Now Casey having a few words, and I don't imagine they're pleasant ones, with Peaches. Casey rolls out of that maneuver, but Starr is there to pull the hair, and Bernie Richard detected that infraction, and Richard breaks the hold. Now Casey with a headlock, and Starr once again pulling the hair. Rotten Ron Starr in against Steve Casey, and Casey, I think, may be the better tactical wrestler, but of course Starr will break any rule in the book and then some in order to retain his heavyweight championship. Here's Casey, and he flips Starr with that hip toss and applies the pin. 1-2 is the count before Starr is able to lift that right shoulder. Steve Casey with that headlock, and now Starr tries to roll out of the hole, and Casey reapplies it. Steve Casey wearing down Starr here in the center of the ring. Casey is incredibly agile for a man his size, 6'5", 265. There's a second body slam. Steve Casey, another hip toss, and Starr is right back where he started. And Peaches growing more and more frustrated at ringside. Rotten Ron Starr can't seem to do anything to break out of this hold. And now Peaches is having a few words with referee Bernie Richard, and that is able to distract Richard as Starr pulled the hair, and now he's got Casey in a leg scissors. Starr, of course, relies on Peaches. for those momentary breaks when needed. Casey now with a headstand as he is able to extract himself from that hold, and Casey back with the headlock. Once again, Peaches distracting the referee, and Starr pulling the hair to put Casey back in the leg scissors. And now promoter Emile Dupre has come by. Promoter Emile Dupre, I think, is ordering Peaches away from the ringside area. Well, I don't know if Peaches is leaving or not. She seems to be staying where she is. Perhaps that was just a warning on Emile Dupre's part. Here's Casey with a great leg drop. And now Casey with another hip toss, and Starr is down. Count of 2. Starr nearly got counted out. Maybe the champion is getting a little careless these days. Steve Casey has wrestled a superb match in this championship affair. Casey clearly, clearly has held the upper hand throughout this match. Peaches getting quite animated at ringside, I know, just out of camera range. Here's Starr, a reversal, and Starr comes off the ropes, misses with the clothesline. And Casey has Starr locked up once again. British Empire champ Steve Casey has won a lot of fans here in the Maritimes, and I know if there was a moment he wanted me to pass along a few hellos. And we're going to do that now to the staff of New Bodies Gym in Halifax, Mac, Michelle, and Gail, and to Liz and all the staff at Guppy's. To some of the fans that Steve Casey has won during his stay here in the Maritimes. And, of course, he has thousands more, judging by the cards and letters that we receive here at World Grand Prix Wrestling, as Steve Casey, determined to win that title, starts to go at Rotten Ron Starr. Now Casey with a front face lock on Starr, and now Starr is backing his man into the corner. There's Peaches now. She's got a hold of Casey's boot. Bernie Richard doesn't see it. And that was just enough to distract Steve Casey as he was getting pounded on by a Rotten Ron Starr. And Peaches, did you see that? Peaches there to slap the face of Steve Casey. And now Casey is going outside the ring. He gets clotheslined there by Rotten Ron Starr. Back inside the squared circle, Starr and Casey. Peaches has certainly done her job. And there's Starr clotheslining Casey. Peaches has done just enough to distract the British Empire champion. Down he goes now onto the cement floor over the top rope. And Steve Casey obviously in a lot of pain. Now here's Peaches in to interfere, and she rakes the back of the British Empire champion with those long, wicked fingernails. And that just infuriates Casey more than anything. Here's a small package attempt by Starr. Count of 2, and Casey is able to kick out. Casey now delivers an elbow of his own, and another. Steve Casey whipping Starr into the turnbuckle, and Starr greets him with a big knee as Casey came charging in. Off the rope, Starr with a knee drop right on the forehead. Here's a cover and a count of 2 as Casey is able to kick out. Steve Casey is wrestling for the International Heavyweight Championship, but Peaches doing her level best to avoid giving the man a fair shot. Peaches once again distracting the referee. And now Starr is applying a chokehold on Casey, while Richard was being disrupted by the antics of Peaches at ringside. Here's Casey now. He's getting tugged on by the hair. And Starr, in a moment of difficulty, just reached back, grabbed a few locks, and was able to restore the advantage. Now Starr slamming Casey's head into the turnbuckle. Here goes Casey off the rope. And a big boot meets Rotner on Starr. Here's Casey. Body slam. Here's Casey going to the top rope. I don't know if he softened up his man enough for this maneuver. Here's Casey. Oh, my. This could be for the championship. Here's a cover. 1, 2, and Starr is able to kick out. Steve Casey now flying off the ropes. Leveling Starr. Here's a cover. Count of 1 before Starr is able to go to the ropes to break the hold. Starr now whipping his man, but Casey reverses that maneuver. And here comes the kamikaze. This could be it. It could be all over for Rotner on Starr. Casey ready to go into the kamikaze. Here's the Cuban Assassin. Cuban Assassin interfering in the match. Cuban Assassin interfering in the match as Casey was ready to apply the kamikaze. And here comes the Dynamite Kid. Dynamite coming to the aid of Steve Casey. Dynamite has got Cuban Assassin into the ropes. Here's Dynamite. Now going after Rotner on Starr. Mayhem here at the Cocan Arena. The winner by virtue of disqualification is Steve Casey. But unfortunately for him, Rotner on Starr walks out with the belt. Steve Casey denied a fair shot at that title after the interference on the part of the Cuban Assassin. Just as Casey was going for that kamikaze maneuver, you saw it at home. Casey clearly had his man beaten as far as I was concerned, but the Cuban Assassin coming in, grabbing the leg as Casey went to apply that kamikaze, and as a result, the ensuing disqualification. We're going to continue with more World Grand Prix Wrestling in just a moment. World Grand Prix Wrestling, let's get a comment from Steve Casey.
The first thing I'd like to say is thank you, kid. Without you, I think I'd have been a goner. But again, Starr, you've always got to have somebody backing you up. You can't do it man to man. You've got Peaches looking after you like a little kid day in, day out. Then you get the Cuban on your side. You trip me up, you nearly break my neck. But this time, I've got one of the best partners in world wrestling, the Dynamite Kid. He's going to be watching my back, Starr.
And of course, Dynamite, without you, as Steve Casey mentioned, he could have been a goner.
Let me tell you something right now. Whether it's Ron Starr or the Cuban Assassin, Steve Casey, don't worry about watching your own back, because the Dynamite will be there all the way through. And one more thing, we're both English, we're both from the same town. The Dynamite Kid and Steve Casey could unite as an English tag team wrestling team. Steve, put it there.
World Grand Prix Wrestling, you can't beat the action, and we'll be back with more great wrestling next week.